Hi, welcome back to my channel Quick Recapped. Today, I am going to explain Wrath of the Titans movie. That is an action fantasy film. Watch out and take care. In the ancient times, gods and monsters ruled the world, but Perseus, who was half human and half divine, slayed the Kraken, the most dreadful monster of all, and saved the world. Zeus, his father, invited him to rule with him as a prize, but Perseus declined because he loved being human. Perseus' wife passed away eventually, but he still didn't change his mind. Perseus, a humble fisherman, still lives a contented life with his son Helios. However, one day, Zeus, the king of the gods, pays him a visit with an alarming message. The gods are losing their strength due to humanity's lack of devotion, and this is causing the demons trapped in Tartarus to break free. And soon Cronus, the colossal titan and father of all gods, may escape and bring calamity to the world. Zeus asks Perseus to help to stop a dangerous situation, but Perseus says no because he wants to focus on taking care of his son, and he doesn't believe he can do much to help anyway. After Zeus goes away, Perseus goes to sleep, but then starts having bad dreams about Cronus coming to his town and destroying and almost killing his son. Meanwhile, Zeus confers with his brother Poseidon and his son Ares, who is unhappy with Perseus's decision and say him irresponsible. The trio travels to Tartarus to repair the crumbling walls, but they encounter Hades, who still harbors resentment towards his brothers Zeus and Poseidon for his banishment into the underworld. As a result, Hades chooses to turn against his relatives and attacks them by setting loose fireballs and monsters. The weakened gods are unable to fight at their full capacity, and Poseidon suffers a severe injury. Zeus is upset and distracted because of his brother's loss, and Ares sees an opportunity to hit Zeus and then joins Hades instead. Ares steals Zeus's thunderbolt, resulting his strength to become more powerful. Suddenly, many chimeras emerge from the underworld and begin attacking people all over the world. One of them lands in Perseus's village, so he runs to get his sword and protect his home. The villagers gather around the spot where the creature landed, but the chimera returns, causing everyone to run away in fear. A chase begins through the village. Perseus gives his best and fighting the monster and keeping an eye on his son at the same time. Perseus uses everything he can find as a shield as the chimera breathes flame, and when he is close enough, he tried to stab any portion of the monster he can reach. Although the chimera knocks him down, but just when the chimera is about to attack Helios, Perseus gathers himself and turns the chimera's focus to himself, causing it to become tangled in a knot of chains. The beast starts running away and pulls Perseus along with it until they are outside the village. There, Perseus seizes the chains and deceives the creature into breathing fire, which results in the chimera burning itself to death. After that, Perseus gets help from a healer for his injuries and takes his son Helios with him to the Mount of Idols. This place used to be a sacred spot where people worshiped the gods, but now it's in ruins. They locate Zeus' statue and start praying. But instead of Zeus, Poseidon appears. He barely escaped from the battle and informs Perseus about the betrayal and how Zeus is captured. Poseidon instructs Perseus to seek out Agenor, Poseidon's son, who is with Queen Andromeda. Together, they must find the god Hephaestus, who has the key to defeating Cronus. Poseidon requests Perseus to give his trident to his son before he passes away. Meanwhile, Zeus is being tied up so that his powers can be drained by Tartarus, who plans to use them to release Cronus. Ares takes advantage of the situation to express his hatred towards his father Zeus. He accuses Zeus of favoring Perseus, who chose to live as a human, and this has insulted the gods. But Zeus believes that Cronus is lying to Ares and Hades about giving them immortality if they help him escape. In the village, Perseus decides that he needs to fight to protect his family and the world from the danger posed by Cronus. Before leaving, he says goodbye to his son Helios. Helios gives Perseus a dagger that he had made as a gift. Perseus calls his black Pegasus and they fly up in the sky. From there, he spots Queen Andromeda's armies who are preparing for battle at the entrance to the underworld. The soldiers shoot arrows at Perseus when they see him flying, but when they recognize him as the hero who defeated the Kraken, they stop attacking. As Perseus arrives, everyone bows down to him. He meets with Andromeda and tells her the situation, including that they shouldn't pray to Ares or they'll summon his presence. Andromeda is ready to help, Then Perseus and Andromeda go to the jail where Agenor is being kept for being liar and thief. Perseus tells Agenor what is happening, but Agenor refuses to help because he doesn't want to have anything to do with the gods who left him alone. But Perseus tells Agenor that helping him could result in his freedom. So Agenor requests a promise from the king to forgive him, some money, and a boat in return for helping Perseus. Andromeda agrees to give everything to him in order to help humanity. Afterwards, while they were on Agenor's new boat, Andromeda finds out that Hephaestus is the one who created the trident of Poseidon, the pitchfork of Hades, and the lightning bolt of Zeus. Andromeda discovers that by combining those three weapons, they can create the Spear of Triumph, which was the weapon that the gods used to defeat Cronus for the first time. Hephaestus lives on an undiscovered island called Kale, but Agenor claims he knows how to find it. Perseus agrees to release Agenor from his chains and gives him the trident, which Agenor places in the boat to use as a guide to navigate to the island. When they reach Kale, they discover that there are hidden traps all over the place. The guards with Andromeda want to ask Ares for help and safety, but Perseus tells them that Ares is not their side anymore. The group attempts to be cautious, but Agenor accidentally walks into a wire and becomes trapped. As they thought how to rescue Agenor, the trap suddenly taken away from its ropes. Perseus tries to pursue it, but a tree is hurled at him instead. Perseus manages to avoid the tree and is surprised to find out that a Cyclops is responsible for the trap. Andromeda's group attempts to assist Perseus, but another Cyclops arrives and starts attacking and killing the soldiers. Andromeda and her guard Coronna hide, and Coronna attempts to pray to Ares for protection. But Andromeda stops her from doing so. One of the Cyclops is about to discover Andromeda and Coronna, but it hears a scream of agony from its partner and hurries to investigate. As it happens, Perseus has succeeded in stabbing the Cyclops that was chasing him, and with the aid of the soldiers, they trigger one of the traps in the forest to knock it out. When suddenly the second Cyclops approaches to attack, Perseus utilizes the trident to protect himself. This action attracts the attention of a third Cyclops who intervenes and stops its comrades from attacking further because the trident is the sign sent by the gods to the group. After Agenor is rescued, and Cyclopes kneel for Perseus in respect. While Zeus was chained up, Ares began to repeatedly hit him, taking advantage of the situation. Hades had to intervene and stop Ares because he didn't realize how far he could go and might have messed up the plan. Zeus quickly starts get aging while the chains on his arms, which are made of lava, absorb his power. After a short time, the group finally arrives at Hephaestus' lair. Although the old god appears to be confused, he acknowledges Perseus and explains that he is unable to assist because he no longer possesses godly power. Zeus had taken it away from him when he exiled him to the human world. Andromeda takes hold of Hephaestus' hand and pleads with him to assist them, which is enough to make him change his mind because Andromeda reminds Hephaestus of his wife Aphrodite. They need to get to the heart of Tartarus, and for that they need to cross the labyrinth that surrounds it. The group departs to reach another location where Hephaestus has concealed the entrance to the labyrinth. Before they leave, Hephaestus hands Agenor a map of the maze as a precaution. But as they approach the door, Ares suddenly appears. He kills the remaining soldiers with Andromeda, and in response, Perseus tries to fight him by punching him. But his punch is not strong enough to harm Ares. As Hephaestus unlocks the concealed entrance, the group attempts to attack Ares. However, he proves too powerful and easily repels their attacks, pushing them away effortlessly. Coronna kneels down and confesses that she was the one who prayed for Ares, but he thanks her by killing her. Realizing that the group is on the verge of defeat, Hephaestus keeps the door open with his staff and goes to confront Ares, to buy the group some time. As Ares takes his time attacking Hephaestus, Perseus, Andromeda, and Agenor hurry into the labyrinth. The door shuts behind them, leaving them outside. The group of three starts to explore through the maze using the map provided by Hephaestus. Perseus hears a voice repeatedly calling name and asking for his son, while Andromeda experiences a vision of Coronna, who quickly disappears. After many twists and turns, Agenor concludes that the map is of no use and suggests that they should follow his natural sense of direction, which he inherited from his father. Suddenly, the walls begin to shift and close off certain paths, causing the group to run in fear of being crushed. They arrive at a section inside the labyrinth where large rings move, causing them to fall and become trapped between two walls. The group of semi-gods utilize their strength to free Andromeda from being stuck, and Aegoner quickly follow. Unfortunately, Perseus falls again. Perseus discovers Helios in a dimly lit hallway and has to remind himself that he is not real. As he searches for his friends, Perseus is suddenly attacked by a minotaur that attempts to impale him with its horns. An intense battle begins, and after a long and difficult struggle, Perseus successfully forces the minotaur into a wall, causing its horns to become stuck. Perseus starts attacking the minotaur and continues until its horns break. Even when the minotaur pleads for mercy in Helios' voice, but Perseus kills it without showing any kindness. Now that the creature minotaur guarding the labyrinth has been defeated, Perseus can continue his journey without any obstacle in his way. Perseus finds his friends and they all enter the heart of Tartarus together. Zeus tells Hades he's sorry for sending him to the underworld and admits that he forgives Hades for taking him captured. Hades begins to reconsider his actions and desires the love and approval of his family, but just then Ares appears and assaults him to prevent him from freeing Zeus. Hades and Ares fight, and during the struggle, Hades grabs Ares and both of them fall into the abyss. Meanwhile, Cronus absorbs Zeus' power and finally begins to woken up. Perseus, Andromeda, and Aegoner reach the spot where Zeus is trapped. Perseus then uses Poseidon's trident to free Zeus from the chains that bind him. At that moment, Ares appears and prepares to continue fighting. Andromeda and Aegoner try to stop Ares but fail. However, Hades suddenly attacks Ares from behind with his pitchfork and Ares falls. The trio escapes with Zeus while Ares takes Hades' pitchfork and throws it at Zeus, stabbing him in the back. Zeus sees a chance to escape and combines the pitchfork with the trident to teleport everyone out of Tartarus. Ares becomes very angry and stabs Hades. He then looks around finds out the gift that Helios had given him, which Perseus dropped. The group arrives at Andromeda's camp a few minutes later, but Zeus is running out of time. Zeus informs Perseus that Ares has his lightning bolt and they must take it to create the spear, which only Perseus can use. The group comes up with a strategy where Aegoner, Andromeda, and her army will hold Cronus off while Perseus retrieves the bolt. Perseus prays to Ares and asking him to meet him there. Perseus uses his Pegasus to fly to the temple. The underworld's entrance explodes and fireballs start falling, bringing along many monsters. The humans are fighting with everything they have, but they can't hold fighting for much longer. In the midst of the intense battle, Hades unexpectedly arrives at the battlefield. He approaches Zeus and holds his hand, indicating that he has forgiven him. As a gesture of his forgiveness, Hades shares his remaining power with Zeus. Zeus' body is restored to its previous state and he appears to be young again. Any injuries or signs of aging he had before are now gone. The gods Zeus and Hades start fighting the monsters, defeating them easily like they are nothing. While all this is happening, Perseus reaches the temple and finds out that Ares has brought Helios with him. Ares wants Helios to witness the capture of his father, just like how Ares had to witness his own father being taken away. A fight breaks out between the two brothers, and Ares quickly gains the upper hand since he is much stronger than Perseus. However, Helios appears and grabs his father's sword, which distracts Ares just as he is about to deliver the killing blow to Perseus. Perseus takes advantage of the distraction caused by Helios and manages to snatch the lightning bolt from Ares, despite Ares' initial advantage over him. He then uses the bolt to defeat and kill Ares. With all three weapons in his possession, Perseus combines them to create the Spear of Triumph. Hades and Zeus turn their attention to attacking Cronus as he finishes awakening and appears on the battlefield. However, their attacks are weak and ineffective. Cronus pays no attention to them and instead focuses on destroying the surrounding area by shooting lava all over the place. Perseus comes to the battlefield on his Pegasus, but he cannot approach Cronus to attack him due to the continuous shower of lava. Hades and Zeus work together to attack Cronus and create an opening for Perseus to approach, but this makes Cronus angry and he smashes the ground, unleashing a massive wave aimed at the gods. Zeus pushes Hades and creating a shield with his power, but it wasn't strong enough to withstand the powerful wave caused by Cronus. As a result, it gets hit back, but Perseus took this opportunity to dodge the last wave of lava and flew into Cronus' mouth. Then he stabbed the spear of Triumph into Cronus' body. The strategy succeeds, and Cronus bursts into pieces, leaving only ashes behind. The soldiers celebrate, and Andromeda is filled with joy to witness Perseus returning safely on his flying horse. Later, Perseus meets with Zeus again, and Zeus acknowledges that the reign of the gods has come to an end. Zeus expresses his gratitude to Perseus for help them. After Hades informs Perseus that he can't delay Zeus's death any longer, Zeus dies while being held in his son's arms. Following this, Hades reveals that he has no power left and decides to embark on a new journey. Shortly after, the group at the camp starts tending to their injuries. Agenor spends time with Helios and tries to build a strong relationship as an uncle figure. Meanwhile, Perseus goes over to Andromeda and gives her a kiss. In a private moment between the father and son, Helios confesses that seeing the destructive nature of war, he said that a fisherman doesn't seem so bad. Perseus believes that Helios should be prepared for what is to come and, therefore, decides to give him his iconic sword.
Thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoy the movie.